I haven't been railing nearly enough on Cyberpunk, and that's entirely my fault.
I don't know why that's such a funny start to a video. Sorry, guys, I haven't been railing on Cyberpunk, and you know what? That's my fault. Also, there's a typo in your video title.
This channel is supposed to be dedicated to exposing corruption in the gaming industry.
Exposing corruption in the game industry. I mean, if that's what you want to call it, then you're wrong.
Exposing the anti-Nintendo bias and the pro-PlayStation propaganda.
Exposing the anti-Nintendo bias? That's what?
Lady, have you got your lions crossed?
I'm supposed to be talking about situations like this in which...
I mean, bro, you're not exposing an anti-Nintendo bias. You're just a Nintendo fanboy. Like, that's literally what your channel is. And if that's what your channel is, that's fine. Just own it. You're not exposing anything. I almost responded to this video not too long ago. And you're lucky I was visiting my parents at the time and I didn't want to go sit in the closet with my laptop for 30 minutes. It's not really the Christmas dinner conversation I was hoping to have with them. No, you're a fanboy. You're not exposing any kind of corruption. You're inventing problems for yourself to solve and for Nintendo to solve and then for you to tell us about. Do I have to remind you of things that this guy has said in the past? That Nintendo should be the only console manufacturer? That multi-platform games are a bad thing?
Our golden goose, CD Projekt Red, fell flat on its face, exactly as it predicted it would.
Yeah, you predict everything that's not Nintendo to fail, so it doesn't surprise me that eventually you would be correct about that. And the laws of probability are kind of on your side there.
But unfortunately, I really can't keep doing this the way I used to.
What? No, you have to. You have to. I need content.
I know I keep saying this on stream. I know I keep talking about this, like, off and on Twitter, but, like, I have a life.
I mean, not to be that guy, but it really doesn't seem like it sometimes.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not like you. I'm not like the vast majority of my detractors, okay? I do stuff outside of play video games and then bitch about Nintendo on Twitter. Like,
oh, bitch about Nintendo? I thought you were exposing anti-Nintendo bias. Literally 30 seconds ago.
I do other things. Like, I'm a fucking novelist, okay? I just finished my new book, like Rabbit Hole. Like, okay. I've been busy in 2020.
I mean, if we're promoting ourselves, I make music on my music channel, and I'm going to have new music there. Want to hear some clips of some new stuff I've been working on? Yeah, that's coming soon. Just finishing some other stuff up first.
2020 has been a great year for me, by the way, but I've had a lot of things to focus on. I have not had the time to really dig into Cyberpunk.
I mean, you've dug into a million other things, and you've sucked off a million other Nintendo aspects. I feel like you have had the time, you just haven't really found the right pro-Nintendo angle to take. And now you found it. Cyberpunk is yet another non-Nintendo failure. I'm glad we eventually got here. I don't know what we would have done otherwise.
And yet, I can't even wrap my mind. I can't even fathom how
Today, Junior.
Even I, in my current state of, like, not paying attention at all, like, I haven't seen gameplay footage, I haven't seen angry reviews, I haven't seen, like, anything, right? Like,
you haven't seen footage, you haven't seen reviews, you haven't seen anything, and yet here we are going to talk about it. Honestly, I expect no less from you.
Even I, in my current state, am very, very well aware of what's going on.
I was going to make a joke about that, but honestly, I'm just more curious about where we're going. So I'll hold on to it.
The typical AAA damage control, like
AAA damage control. Who would be doing that? Who would do that? Is he wearing a hat?
Oh, it's going to be fine with a patch. Oh, it's going to be fine on PC. You just got to let CD... the development team was rushed by management. They wanted to fix the game. They shouldn't have put it on last-gen hardware. Like...
I mean, yeah, all those things are true. That's not really damage control. That's just kind of reality. The game is better on PC and next-gen consoles. They probably shouldn't have put it on last-gen consoles. They were probably rushed by management. I mean, that's not damage control. That's kind of just reality. Damage control would be, oh, the game is unplayable, but you can still kind of play it. The game's unplayable, but other games are even more unplayable. The game is unplayable, but I like it. The game is unplayable, but the publishers sent a DMCA to people hosting fan tournaments even though they don't want to sell the game and profit off the game anymore, but they demand that people stop playing the game because they have no respect for their company's history or what people want to do with their games or this amazing thing that they made with their game, bro. Super Smash Bros. Melee!
You're seeing a lot of people make a bunch of excuses. Like,
saying the game shouldn't have been released on last gen console, that's not an excuse. Like, what does that mean? That's not an excuse. Like, if I make a criticism of something, that doesn't mean I'm excusing anything about it. I'm criticizing it.
trying to find some reason, some explanation as to how this could have happened.
I mean, since we're talking about CD Projekt Red, not to be a whataboutism guy, but you're also the same person who said the Switch version of The Witcher 3 looked exactly the same as the PC version on Ultra settings. Like, I'm dead serious. That's the thing that you said.
There is no difference at all between The Witcher 3 on Switch and The Witcher 3 on PC with maxed out settings.
Can we hear that one more time?
There is no difference at all between The Witcher 3 on Switch and The Witcher 3 on PC with maxed out settings.
So I'm not really going to pay much mind to what you think valid criticism or damage control or anything like that constitutes, because you're kind of just wrong all the time.
I'll tell you what actually happened.
You'll tell us what actually happened. Interesting, because 30 seconds ago you said you don't know anything about the situation.
CD Projekt Red was not as good of a development studio as you thought they were. That's all there is to it. Like,
no, CD Projekt Red is an extremely talented studio, and anybody who has played Cyberpunk will tell you, bugs aside, the game itself is well designed. That doesn't excuse the bugs. Obviously, the bugs are unacceptable, and the amount of bugginess in the game is unacceptable. But most anyone will tell you it's a solid game. I haven't played it yet because I'm waiting for it to get patched up, and I'm waiting for myself to have a long stretch of time that I can really just lose myself in a game like that. I don't think anyone's going to say CD Projekt Red isn't a talented studio.
you thought this was going to be the new BioWare, the new Western RPG studio. You thought they would continue putting out hit after hit after hit.
I mean, they kind of already are that. Witcher 2, Witcher 3, they kind of were a good studio. It's not like we were expecting them to break through. It was like, no, they already broke through.
Amazing game after amazing game. You waited 8 years. 8 years!
I mean, I didn't. I was playing Witcher 3.
For this shit. They were teasing this shit in The Witcher 3. You know what I mean? They were.
I mean, if they were, I wasn't aware of that. I don't really care. I think most people don't care. Are you sensing a theme here? You're focusing on things that people don't really care about.
They were hyping this up. This was their next big thing, their next big project, their first big IP after The Witcher, and they completely botch it. They completely failed. They couldn't do shit. And I think there are a handful of people out there who are trying to save face, saying stuff like, oh, the atmosphere is there. Oh, the story is good. Like,
and who are you to tell those people that they're wrong? You literally admitted you haven't seen footage, you haven't seen gameplay, you haven't seen anything. I mean, as I'm recording my videos, Cyberpunk is still the 6th most played game on Steam. It's almost like the criticisms of this game kind of vary from platform to platform, but the game itself can be judged separately. That doesn't excuse the problems with the past gen versions. I don't think the past gen version should have even come out. But I mean, you can just look this up. People are still playing the game. It's not like the game just stopped existing.
the potential is there. No.
Nope, no potential. 6th most played game on Steam. No potential. None. Those people are just looking at the menu.
The simple fact of the matter is, this idea, a cyberpunk dystopia,
Did you just say dystopia?
has already been done better on recent hardware, right? Like,
I swear to God, if you say a Switch game.
the original, the reboot of Deus Ex, Human Revolution, right?
Deus, how did you even, what? I need to hear that again.
The reboot of Deus Ex, Human Revolution, right?
DSX? DSX. It's Deus Ex. Dystopia. Good Lord.
A game I don't even fucking like, right? was better than this, right? Like,
Shocker, you didn't like a game that wasn't made by Nintendo.
I have a lot of problems with Human Revolution, okay? Like, maybe I'll get into that if I ever do, like, a Wii U library retrospective, but, like...
Oh, yeah, no, the Wii U version. Of course. I take it back.
Deus Ex is actually one of my least favorite games on the console. I'll probably talk a little bit about that.
And because you are who you are, I now have to fact check and make sure we're actually talking about this game, because I was not aware Human Revolution even came out on the Wii U. Apparently it did. I guess I learned something today. Maybe you learned something today. Drop a like rating if you learned something today.
At a later date, but I really did not want to hate Deus Ex because...
I feel like you did, though.
They really nailed this corporate espionage thing. Like, going around, looking at documents, like, breaking into facilities, like, doing all this stuff. Like, it actually came off as original and novel and a really unique, fun setting, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, Deus Ex and... Sorry, how'd you say it? Deus Ex. Yeah, no, Deus Ex is a different kind of dystopia game. I'm sorry. Deus Ex and Cyberpunk are in the same genre, but they're not the same exact kind of game. Deus Ex is about, like... I don't know how to describe it quickly, but, like... Deus Ex is a much more, let's say, complicated game than Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk is much more of just a traditional RPG. Obviously, Deus Ex is also an RPG, but it's a more structured, more like, here is what's happening kind of thing. Cyberpunk is a more like, here's what's happening. Now that I say that out loud, it probably doesn't sound that helpful, but it might be helpful. Bro, it's 9 in the morning right now. I'm doing my best right now, okay? The point is, same genre, different kind of game. So to compare them is a little...
Like, if the writing was better, if the gameplay was better, like, I probably would have really liked it.
If the writing and gameplay were better, you would have liked it. Thank you for describing what a game is.
There were a lot of problems with Deus Ex, but it wasn't broken. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't play Deus Ex thinking to myself, like, wow, they hope they fix this with a patch. Like, no, it was a functional video game. You know what I mean? It was an actual video game on the Wii U. You know, a Nintendo version of a game.
Yes. Deus Ex, Human Revolution, my favorite Wii U exclusive.
That actually ran well and actually had some interesting ideas. Like, obviously, there are, like, better alternatives. Like, Astral Chain is better.
Did you? Oh, yep, there it is. There it is. You just compared Deus Ex to Astral Chain. It all comes back to Nintendo, doesn't it? Like, everything has to come back to Nintendo for you. You just compared Cyberpunk to Deus Ex Human Revolution, and then you compared Deus Ex Human Revolution to Astral Chain. Whoa. Like, I don't know what to tell you, bro. There's a lot of stuff outside of your little bubble. Like, expand your horizons. Also, I don't know why I'm thinking about this, but just looking at this, at your background, looking at your fridge, and looking at, like, the atmosphere of your... I assume this is your living room. I just keep expecting the fridge to open and something to jump out of it, like that scene in Ghostbusters. I actually rewatched Ghostbusters, like, a week ago. That movie is really fucking good. That movie holds up super, super well. Also, I had the biggest crush on Sigourney Weaver when I was younger because of that movie.
The thing about CD Projekt Red... And every other AAA studio you try to hype up, like Bungie, like...
I don't think anybody really hypes up Bungie anymore. I feel like they kind of lost us.
Ubisoft.
I don't feel like people really hype up Ubisoft. They just kind of accept what Ubisoft throws at us because they just throw a lot of stuff at us. It may or may not be okay. Put that on my Yelp review of Ubisoft. It may or may not be okay.
What? DICE?
Why'd you say it like a pirate merchant? And again, nobody really hypes up DICE anymore. DICE has lost our trust. You're describing a bunch of studios who, yes, had a golden age and then kind of lost our trust because of whatever corporate reason it may be. And you're trying to compare that to CD Projekt Red, a company who put out a slew of extremely quality games and then put out Cyberpunk, which has been, a little divisive depending on what platform you're playing it on. And again, not excusing any of the problems with the Cyberpunk versions that have problems, which is all of them, but obviously some of them are worse than others. You are the king of false equivalencies.
Like it happens with every single major release, right?
It literally doesn't.
You try to say this shit like, oh, DICE is good now. Like,
I don't remember anybody saying that to me recently.
They managed to save Battlefront. I wonder what they're going to put out next.
The recovery of Battlefront 2 was unexpected, but appreciated.
A surprise, to be sure, but a welcome one.
Doesn't excuse where it started as, though.
What? Sean Murray, he sure saved No Man's Sky. Like,
again, No Man's Sky's recovery was a good story. Does not excuse how the game launched. Nobody's going to forget the way Battlefront 2 launched. Nobody's going to forget the way No Man's Sky launched. And nobody's going to forget the way Cyberpunk launched. If Cyberpunk recovers, that's great. I always want a game with a rocky start to find its footing because I want games to be good. Who is hurt by a game being good, by a game coming out good, or a game coming out broken and then redeeming itself? Really, who doesn't benefit from that? You have this fixation on anything that's not Nintendo to be shit. And isn't Cyberpunk literally going to come out on Switch? Or maybe it already did, or it's coming. Like, I can't wait to see your video. I'm calling it right now. I can't wait to see the video like Cyberpunk 2077 is meant to be played on Switch. Or like Switch version of Cyberpunk is the definitive version. You're going to make a video like that. I know you're going to do it. Bookmark this video, bookmark this timestamp. I know you're going to do that.
no, like, you people need to acknowledge that you're being manipulated, right?
Really? We're being manipulated? We're being manipulated because of Cyberpunk, not you. Thank you for saving us. What did you say your channel was about? Exposing corruption in the game industry and exposing the anti-Nintendo bias? I really want to start playing Melee in the background of this video just to piss you off.
You need to acknowledge that the games you're defending, the games you're playing, the games you're excited for from these studios are not going to be good, ever. Like, under any circumstances.
What a level-headed stance to take. The games that you want to play from these studios, they are not going to be good, ever. What a very level-headed and productive mentality to have. Let me write that one down. Hang on. I'm going to have to... find a place to write this. The games you like are not going to be good. Okay.
There's going to be no salvaging Cyberpunk.
Yeah, no salvaging Cyberpunk. Number 6 on Steam. Whoops.
Just like there was no salvaging Mass Effect 3.
Can't fix Mass Effect 3. Good thing it came out 10 years ago. Holy shit, that was like 10 years ago.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't fix the problems with Mass Effect 3. Now, the game journalist will tell you the game is fixed now. They'll tell you it's better, but that's completely different than actually getting a new video game.
Wait, but you said you still haven't played Cyberpunk, so how would you know if it's gotten better? Jesus Christ.
And enjoying it on release. Like,
The thing that you didn't do.
that is an experience that I think is almost completely alien to non-Nintendo gamers right now. Like,
And there it is, all the way back to Nintendo. Yep, let's keep going. Oh boy, I can't wait to finish this video. 2.5 more minutes, let's party. I mean, you all knew that angle was coming.
imagine you buy a PS5 and, you know, you beat Miles Morales in like the 6 hours it takes to get through that game.
I mean...
And you go through these glitchy ass messes like unfinished Cyberpunk.
Glitchy ass was... I don't think Miles Morales was a glitchy ass mess. To my understanding, the game launched pretty okay.
A fucking Souls rehash. Like,
A Souls rehalf. What happened to the other half? Ha 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 ha, sub to me.
what is there to play? Like, your big game for this holiday season fell flat on its face.
Yeah, because the consoles just came out. There's never that many games on a console when it first comes out. I mean, do we have to go through the launch lineup for your precious Switch? You know, oh, Breath of the Wild. But then 1-2 Switch and Bomberman. But knowing you, those were probably in your top 10 of the year. Because, I mean, when you only play on one system, and that one system is owned by Nintendo, you don't get that many games.
Meanwhile, like, Age of Calamity is like the best-selling Warriors game ever. Like, Animal Crossing sold like 30 million units. Like, CD Projekt Red is trying to say that like Cyberpunk has sold like 13 million units. It's mostly pre-orders.
A pre-order is still a sale. That's still, if they get $60 from you and they give you a copy of the game, it doesn't matter what you do with the copy afterwards. That's still a sale. The fuck does that mean?
Like, it's mostly people who are just like refunding their, like, who just put money down on it already years ago.
Yeah, that's still a sale. Do I agree with pre-orders? No, I don't pre-order anything. Nobody should pre-order anything, especially not now. But that's still a sale. You don't know what people did with their game after they bought it. And don't even act like you've never pre-ordered a game super far in advance.
Sales are going to drop like a rock, I think, over the next couple of months.
Yeah, they do with every single player game. That's just the way these things go.
They probably already have. Like, the word of mouth has just been terrible.
Number 6 on Steam.
Like, I do think in the long run, this is basically going to destroy CD Projekt Red's reputation.
Number 6 on Steam.
Like, you won't have, like, Angry Joe, like, coming out and saying, oh, this Zelda game is good. It's almost as good as something that CD Projekt Red would turn out. Like, no, it's
Well, allow me to make an equivalency here. People still compare new open world games to GTA 5, despite the fact that Red Dead 2 has been out for 2 years now. Rockstar made a game after GTA 5, but people still compare an open world game to GTA 5. Your latest game doesn't have to be your magnum opus all the time. Yes, Cyberpunk has been out for a couple months now, I think. I don't know. I haven't been keeping track. Time is completely meaningless right now. But whenever a new Western RPG comes out, it's probably going to be compared to The Witcher 3 more than it's being compared to Cyberpunk. Just because Cyberpunk came out doesn't mean The Witcher 3 is worse. Just because Red Dead 2 came out doesn't mean GTA 5 is worse.
that illusion has been dismantled.
It really hasn't. I don't even know what illusion you're talking about. Shit, maybe I'm still eluded.
It's been dispelled. It's gone. Like Nintendo is pumping out better games left and right.
Nintendo really isn't pumping out games. I mean, they are pumping out cease and desist letters, but I know how you feel about those.
Then all these other companies combined, and no one wants to admit it. Like,
if I admitted it, I would be wrong.
they put out the better Cyberpunk game last year, Astral Chain.
And there it is, comparing Cyberpunk 2077, an open-world first-person RPG, to Astral Chain, which is like sci-fi Pokemon. In before somebody yells at me for calling it sci-fi Pokemon. I don't know, I was trying to come up with a funny way to dismiss what he was saying. I don't actually think that. I really have to use the bathroom, but there's 40 seconds of his video left.
And the industry tried everything it could do to try and ignore it and try to write it off as a failure and
I mean, it's pretty easy to ignore things that aren't happening.
try to say it wasn't very good.
I don't think people said Astral Chain wasn't very good. I recall a lot of really positive reviews for that game. I would have played it if I had a Switch, but I don't.
Like, obviously, it wasn't my favorite game on the Switch. Like, obviously, the Wonderful 101 was better. The Wii U in general was better than the Switch, but
I think that's the first thing you ever said where I dead-ass agree with you. I just said dead-ass. Holy shit. I need to go home. No, the Wii U was a good-ass system. It's just people didn't buy it, so people don't know that. The Wii U was great. Full backwards compatibility with the Wii, a giant marketplace. The Wii U was a nice system. The Wii was a great system. I think the Wii is Nintendo's best console. Don't at me.
like, Astral Chain is a video game.
Yeah, it's a video game. Thanks.
It had creative ideas, gorgeous visuals,
I mean, yeah, it looked fine.
unique mechanics. Like, it was a completely new IP
Cyberpunk has nice visuals and unique mechanics, and it's okay.
that people ignored.
And again, I know I said I haven't played Cyberpunk, but I mean, it's kind of going back to that thing I said in my last response video. I don't have to have played the game to recognize that the criticisms you're making are stupid.
Purely because it was a Nintendo exclusive.
Yes, when a game is limited to one platform that not everyone might own, not that many people will get to play it. Therefore, less people will be talking about it. Crazy how that works.
We're more excited for Cyberpunk.
Yeah, because Astral Chain was a new IP exclusive to one system from a developer that doesn't have as big of a following as CD Projekt Red, whose last game was almost unanimously considered one of the best RPGs of the decade.
We don't know anything about this game. We don't know anything about what they're going to offer. Like, we're getting excited for Cyberpunk because that's from CD Projekt Red.
See, so people get excited for CD Projekt Red games, that's bad. You get excited for Nintendo games, that's good. I'm honestly impressed that you've been doing this whole charade for like 5 years now. Like, it is just impossible for your mind to be moved on anything. And I sometimes debate whether or not I should even respond to your videos because I'm not positive you're not a troll channel.
It needs to stop, okay? It needs to stop.
That was a pretty good ending to the video, honestly. That was a nice little segue. It needs to stop, and then the video stops. Sometimes I try to write out like outros for videos. Like, if I try to like sum up my thoughts. But when a video is like this, I just can't. Like, what do I say? Literally, what am I supposed to say? Cyberpunk should not have come out on last-gen consoles. Honestly, I think it should have been delayed again. Because even on the platforms where it ran better, it wasn't running that great. And I'm not someone who likes to excuse developers for the whole ship it now, fix it later thing. The world would have been fine if Cyberpunk was delayed again. That doesn't excuse the fact that it's a fucking mess on the old consoles, and we can debate back and forth as much as you want about whether the 8th gen console version of Cyberpunk is on CD Projekt Red's hands or if it's on the console's hands, because those consoles were underpowered as shit. We knew eventually games were going to get to that point. Like, we all knew that during this period of transition from 8th gen consoles to 9th gen consoles, we all knew that games were going to be running like ass on the 8th gen. That doesn't excuse it from happening, but again, we can debate back and forth as to who's more at fault. They're both at fault, but I feel like you get what I'm saying. God, you are just obsessed with Nintendo. Cyberpunk has nothing to do with Nintendo. I don't even know what I'm going to call this video. I always have trouble finding titles for your videos because it's like, how does your brain go from that to that to that to that? It doesn't make sense to me. Okay, well, here's the thing. I really have to use the bathroom, so I'm going to go do that. And it's snowing really hard right now. Okay, sorry.